Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief and Happy New Year. This will be the first video of this new year of 2024, and also hello in many weeks because I haven't made a video in several weeks. Some of you have noticed I've been gone for a while. So, couple intentions with this video, to bring in the new year, of course, and to honor the process that I've been going through and some of the stuff that's come out of it for me. Lots of ideas and video ideas over the last several weeks, but I made a purposeful intention a couple weeks ago to really go inward and honor the process that I was going through the last several weeks. A couple months ago, I set a really powerful intention. And as I'm learning, and as I continue to learn as the weeks and the years go on, we are incredibly freaking powerful. And the intention and what I put out into the universe a couple months ago, it just started to unfold for me. First in like kind of like pokey, scary ways. And I was like, no, I can do this. And then it like started to amp up, and then it started to get more vulnerable. So since like the middle of November or so, it's been really intense for me. So much so that I don't know if this contributed to it, the chicken and egg, what came first, but obviously we all know that emotions affect our physical health and physical health affects our emotional health and all that back and forth. So I had both of that going on. I ended up getting like sick with a sinus and chest infection for like over a month, longer than I've ever been sick in my life, which of course impacted emotions, but there was also some really intensely emotional shifting and emotional changes going on to the last several weeks. So when I was trying to find my way through it for a few weeks, and then it looked like it was getting better, and then it amped up again, like physically my body got worse again. So I thought, that's it. That's when I just started to kind of shut everything down, anything that needed my energy, my creative energy, my attention energy outside of me, and I just came into me. So that's the process that I've been honoring the last few weeks. It's been beautiful, it's been rocky, it's been vulnerable. I'm happy to be back, and it's still underway. It's still going through, but it's yes. So without telling too much more of the backstory or what's needed, what has been going on for me, the main thing, and what I want to acknowledge in this video today is about the grief, the varied, conflicting, difficult emotions in the grieving process of when you're making choices to change the role in your family. So maybe some of you are aware of this concept of like what kind of like roles and masks is sometimes what people call it, or what we wear in our life, in our lives in general. What this crazy journey of like that we embark on later in life, like in midlife, in our 30s, 40s, wherever it ends up, we all start different places depending on what our chosen path is all about. But that journey is about finding back to our true selves, about finding our true selves, who we knew we were way back when we were super young, before the world that we lived in, the fears of the people around us, including the fears of our families, the trauma that our family has been through, and how all of that impacts the way we develop and the way we see ourselves, the way we create our identity, the way we decide that we need to be and who we need to be, the thought, what we see as true in the world and what we see as not true, and all this stuff it's impacted by who we are raised by and who we grow up with, and their views and their fears and their processes and trauma of where they've been through. And from that, we create our reality, right? And we create the reality of who we are, our identity. And this is, again, you go into this a lot when you start digging into like childhood trauma. And again, this is not about figuring out how we were programmed and how we created out these identities and roles were created to blame our family or to blame our parents or to blame society around us. It's not about that. It's really about uncovering what is our truth, what we want our truth to be now, and what we realize, wow, what I've been living by all this years maybe isn't true at all about me, or true at all about life, or true at all about what it means to be a good person, a good woman, a good mother, a good daughter, a good sibling, right? This is, our society is built around messages and agreements on what being a good person means, right? And so we have these rules and messages that we grow up in and create our reality out of. And what this beautiful journey from midlife on, or whenever we start, is about is uncovering those. I made a video on this a few weeks ago about uncovering those illusions, those messages about what is true, and actually finding out what is true for us and who we truly are, and the rules and beliefs that we want to live by in our own life. So related to, again, what we do is recreate this life, this perception of life and this perception of ourselves when we're super young, as a way of, yeah, it's basically what we need to do. We think we need to do to fit into the world, what we need to do to fit into our families, what we need, because fitting into our families when we're children and dependent on our parents is about safety. It's about absolute survival. So it is a survival mechanism that we choose what we believe. If we validate and believe the same things our parents do, and the same we usually do, at least one of our parents, right? We emanate what they believe. We see the world how they see it. And then we decide what we need to be in our families to be safe, right? To keep love, to keep connection, to fit in, because it is truly about survival. And what I've been digging this and exploring this and reflecting on this for many years. This is part of like the huge journey the last 5 years, but really deeply in the last year, and then set an intention around that a few months ago. It was really related to something that seems not related, money, but if you go into your relationship with money, you can see some of the stuff is very related to your relationship with love. Some of your fears and hang-ups that you have around your relationship with money, because it's a relationship, can be very directly and almost like exactly correlated with your relationship around love and intimacy and trusting people, all these things. So I won't get into that, maybe another video related to that. But when we start to really shake up and become aware of those roles and the things that we decided we needed to be safe and loved in our family, when we start to become aware of that and aware of the impact in our lives, and then have that desire and that intention to change it, it starts to shake shit up, to say the least. That shake shit up, that's the shaken shit that I've been in the last several weeks. It's been super vulnerable. It's been super hard. It's been actually the most vulnerable, the most emotional, the most terrifying shift experience that I've been in since the end of my marriage. So it was and is right now, it doesn't feel really hard, but for quite a few weeks, it was very, very hard, very vulnerable, very terrifying. A lot of like triggers again, because we create these roles and we create this image of ourselves from our childlike self. So when we start to become aware of things we want differently and make changes and act in ways that are against these roles, it like triggers our inner child, right? So our inner child gets terrified and starts to fight back and rebel and be like, no, this is not safe. You can't say that. You can't be that. This is who you need to be, because this is who we have been for however many decades in our life before this point, right? So it's been intense, but again, it's not about blaming our parents, not about blaming the outside world. It's just about deeply reflecting on what we did to protect ourselves as young children, and how those protective mechanisms of the way, the beliefs about life, the beliefs about ourselves, the things we think we need to be safe, is actually what's holding us back from the the longings and the dreams that the biggest dreams that we've had in our lives, or that maybe the dreams that we've stopped dreaming because we didn't think were possible, because we had a world that told us they were not possible, that they were a fantasy, that what we longed for, like the deepest, richest love and connection and joy and passion and creativity and the liveliness of life wasn't actually possible, but it is. It is. And when we start to realize that some of the roles and the images of ourselves and of life have been those barriers holding us back from that life, then we have the choice to change them, right? We have the choice to change our own rules about ourselves, our own rules about life, our own beliefs about what is possible. So, but it is not an easy task. And in that money has been right involved in that, but I will probably create another video related to that. But it's about changing my beliefs, my role in my life and in my family, specifically related to money related stuff, but it also just expands and expands out because it really impacts so many parts of our lives, because money is one of those early relationships that we create, along with the relationships with our parents, our siblings, relationships with our bodies, right? Those early relationships. And they all do piece together. They all are related. So when you start to pull threads on one area, it pulls threads in all the other areas. So yes, so in summary, there is a ton of grief. There's a ton of grief emotions involved in first realizing the roles and things we played, and then letting that, and then the process of letting that go, right? Grieving and letting go of that stuff, being with our inner child when it's freaking out, when we're trying to make changes and trying to think and do things differently. So being with our grieving child when we're doing that, and then just the emotions that are involved in going into an unknown new area, right? An unknown new area of being and living and believing, and all the emotions that can come up with that. So lots of grief involved in this whole process of role recognizing and role shifting in our families and in our entire lives. So I think I'll stop it there. It's nice to be back. Happy New Year. I will see you guys next time. Bye.